This tiny 12-foot camper sleeps 4 people, and once you see the inside, you'll immediately understand why so many buyers are paying attention to it right now. What looks impossible from the outside turns into a lesson in efficiency on the inside, where every design choice is about maximizing function while keeping costs down. If you're trying to stretch your budget without sacrificing usability, this camper forces an uncomfortable question. Are bigger rigs still worth the price, or is the market quietly moving in a completely different direction? The slowdown that made this tiny camper possible. The reason this 12-foot camper exists at this price has nothing to do with creativity and everything to do with slowdown. Japan's compact RV registrations began slipping around 2023, and builders felt the pressure almost immediately. When the numbers fall, something gives, and in this case, it was inventory stacking up faster than domestic buyers could absorb. This is the first crack in the story that makes a micro camper that sleeps 4 people even reachable for most Americans. Without that downturn, these units would have remained niche domestic toys, rather than budget-friendly imports showing up on auction sheets. Younger Japanese drivers, who once flirted with micro campers, shifted hard toward tiny electric runabouts. Parking rules tightened, commute habits changed, and a culture that once celebrated overnight travel began favoring short-range EV trips. As demand softened, dealers found themselves holding more inventory than the market could digest. The outcome is the real hook. That slowdown created the opportunity for importers to scoop up well-equipped, surprisingly capable campers at prices that would have been impossible only a few years earlier. But slowdown alone is not enough to create a 4-person sleeper at bargain levels. Something larger was brewing behind the factory doors, the overproduction wave that flooded the market. When Japan's builders predicted continued growth between 2020 and 2023, they committed to production volumes that assumed sales would keep rising. What they got instead was a mismatch. Too many units rolling out of factories and not enough buyers walking through showroom doors. Unlike larger manufacturers, micro camper builders cannot pivot quickly. They build on seasonal schedules, and once a run begins, canceling it costs more than completing it. This overproduction wave is one of the main reasons a 12-foot camper capable of sleeping 4 people now appears on export lists instead of being fought over domestically. Builders did not design this model for foreign buyers. They simply had more units than the national market could absorb. Dealers held aging stock, carrying costs increased, and manufacturers had to move volume somewhere. Exporters saw the pressure and negotiated wholesale prices down, using the surplus as leverage. What looks like a shockingly good deal from the outside is really the financial aftermath of overambitious planning on the inside. Supply stacked up, and when supply stacks, price becomes the only release valve. But even with excess inventory, the numbers would not make sense without one more major factor: currency. If this breakdown is already opening your eyes, take a second to hit like and subscribe so you stay ahead of the next moves in this market. And if something here stands out or concerns you, share your thoughts and keep the conversation going. The currency shift that pulled prices even lower. The weak yen turned this 12-foot, 4-sleeping camper from a domestic surplus to an international bargain. As the yen slid against the United States dollar through 2022 and 2023, importers realized each dollar could buy more unit than ever before. Currency charts show a clear pattern. When the yen drops, wholesale purchasing power increases, and the landed cost of Japanese RVs falls dramatically. This is why models that once looked financially out of reach now show up at auction with accessible starting bids. It is not that the campers became cheaper to build, it is that the exchange rate made them cheaper to acquire. Importers began buying in bulk, locking in favorable rates, and rushing shipments before the currency moved again. This created a temporary window where a surprisingly capable micro camper, one that sleeps 4 people, fits nearly anywhere, and carries reliable engineering, became competitively priced against used vans in the United States. Without the currency angle, the numbers would not work. But when the yen weakens this much, normal depreciation rules do not apply. Still, not every model benefits equally. Only one became the prime export candidate. Why this model became the export favorite. Among all the compact campers built in Japan, this 12-foot unit became the one exporters targeted first. The reason is practical. It sits on a Daihatsu Hijet foundation, a platform with widely available parts, established service pathways, and predictable maintenance costs. Exporters prefer units that minimize compliance risk, because every complication cuts into profit. The Hijet platform removes most of that friction. The builders designed this camper with production efficiency in mind, not luxury. That efficiency made it cost-effective to build, easy to service, and simple to adapt for foreign regulations. When manufacturers needed to move surplus inventory, they pushed out models that required the least modification and carried the least long-term financial risk. This one fit the criteria perfectly. It also carried a unique selling advantage: real sleeping space for 4 people in a footprint shorter than many compact cars. That practicality made it stand out in export markets where small-format travel vehicles are gaining attention. The combination of a cheap parts pipeline, efficient construction, and high usability turned this camper into the lead export candidate during the liquidation wave. With these 4 forces combined, the stage is set for why the exterior and engineering choices make even more financial sense. The 12-foot size was a cost strategy, not a design trend. When people first see a 12-foot micro camper, the instinct is to assume the size is about aesthetics or novelty. In reality, the shortened footprint is a financial decision rooted deeply in manufacturing math. Builders track material use by linear foot, and every additional foot of exterior shell increases fiberglass, framing, sealant, and labor hours. Industry cost sheets show that even a single extra linear foot can add hundreds of dollars to production inputs before any markup. For that reason, shorter molds are cheaper to create, cheaper to operate, and faster to cycle during high-volume runs. A smaller cabin also requires fewer wall panels, shorter wiring harnesses, and less surface area for weatherproofing. Every one of these reductions stacks into measurable savings. From a business standpoint, the 12-foot size allows builders to hit lower wholesale prices without sacrificing structural integrity. The savings do not come from cutting corners. They come from trimming unnecessary length. And because length is one of the biggest cost multipliers in the RV world, staying compact is financially intentional, not stylistic. But the size is only part of the equation. The real financial advantage appears when you examine the platform underneath. The Hijet platform used in work fleets. The Daihatsu Hijet has been used for decades in commercial fleets across Japan, from agricultural delivery to municipal service. That long history matters because it produces a stable, inexpensive parts pipeline. When a platform is used heavily for work fleets, suppliers manufacture components at scale. Belts, pumps, mirrors, starter motors, and suspension pieces are stocked widely throughout the country and priced far lower than components for niche recreational vehicles. Parts catalog comparisons show routine replacements costing a fraction of what full-size RV owners deal with. This is why micro camper builders choose the Hijet as their foundation. A reliable, inexpensive commercial chassis keeps lifetime ownership costs manageable and reduces the financial risk for both exporters and end users. Repairs do not require special order items, long wait times, or high dealer markups. Instead, most consumable components can be sourced quickly and cheaply through existing supply channels. That predictability becomes part of the product's value. When total cost of ownership remains low, the final selling price can stay competitive without sacrificing durability. Still, predictable parts are only half the story. The exterior also hides a major labor-saving feature designed to cut ongoing service expenses: consolidated maintenance panel for labor cost reduction. Most RVs scatter service access points across multiple compartments. Technicians might spend the first half hour just locating panels, removing covers, and navigating unnecessary obstructions. Labor charges in the RV world often exceed $100 per hour, meaning inefficiency becomes expensive quickly. To solve this, some Japanese builders consolidated the most common service points into a single exterior panel by grouping the water inlet, heater fuel access, and utility connections behind one door. Routine inspections take minutes instead of hours. The proof is easy to see when comparing standard labor invoices. Traditional RVs often include diagnostic time, panel removal, and reassembly, even for simple checks. A consolidated panel eliminates most of these billable steps. It is not only about technician convenience, it directly reduces the total number of labor hours charged for routine upkeep. For owners, predictable servicing is worth real money, especially over several several years. This design choice does not make the camper flashier, but it makes it far cheaper to maintain. And in a market where holding down long-term cost is essential, that matters more than cosmetics. But the biggest savings opportunity comes from something mounted on the roof rather than under a panel: solar and auxiliary power built for cost avoidance. Campground fees have climbed steadily across the United States over the last decade. Public data from national operators shows rate increases almost every single year, especially at locations with electrical hookups. Those rising costs pushed many travelers to look for ways to reduce nightly expenses, and builders responded by integrating solar arrays with auxiliary battery systems. This exterior power setup allows owners to stay off-grid longer, recharge essentials during daylight hours, and avoid plugging in unless absolutely necessary. The financial benefit becomes noticeable on extended trips where nightly hookup fees add up quickly. Auxiliary power also reduces generator use, cutting fuel consumption and maintenance demands. For people who travel frequently, the difference between relying on hookups versus running a solar-supported system can amount to hundreds of dollars saved per season. Builders did not add solar simply to appear modern. They added it because consumers wanted lower ongoing costs. The exterior electrical ecosystem is designed to help owners avoid unnecessary campground charges and maintain power independence. That makes the micro camper more appealing to anyone watching long-term expenses closely, especially as travel costs continue to rise. With the exterior cost logic laid out, let's dive into how interior choices follow the same financial reasoning. Why builders chose pine and light materials. Interior materials are often misunderstood as purely aesthetic choices, but in the world of compact RVs, the selection of pine and other lightweight woods is rooted heavily in economics. Material cost comparisons show that pine panels are significantly cheaper than composite boards, commonly used in larger rigs. Beyond upfront cost, the lighter weight translates directly into reduced fuel consumption. When every pound affects engine strain, builders prioritize materials that lower the vehicle's overall mass. A lighter interior reduces load on the drivetrain, allowing small engines to operate more efficiently during long-distance travel. Fuel efficiency becomes a running expense that continues long after the purchase date, meaning the choice of pine pays off over the full lifespan of the RV. This is why manufacturers consistently return to light woods instead of heavier composites. The decision lowers both production cost and operational cost without compromising durability for typical micro camper use. It is a choice grounded in practicality rather than design flair. Efficiency here is measured in dollars saved at the pump. And just as materials are chosen for efficiency, the interior layout follows similar financial logic through multi-purpose engineering. Multi-purpose furniture lowers manufacturing cost. Multi-purpose furniture inside these compact campers is not about clever novelty. It is about reducing the cost of assembly. Production data comparing single-purpose layouts to convertible layouts shows clear time savings. A dinette that becomes a bed eliminates the need for separate sleeping structures, reducing both materials and labor hours. Each component removed from the build saves money on hinges, brackets, fasteners, and upholstery. Over a full production run, those reductions become substantial. Builders prioritize furniture that performs more than one function because fewer moving parts mean fewer long-term failures. Reliability reduces warranty, claims, and service center visits, protecting both the manufacturer and the owner from unnecessary expenses. The upfront price of the RV remains lower because the interior is streamlined and the long-term repair risk decreases as well. This is why the compact segment relies so heavily on transformable components. They offer utility without requiring additional square footage or specialized installation. When labor efficiency and durability align, manufacturing cost drops. That is the financial core behind multi-purpose layouts. But even with efficient furniture, sleeping space must remain functional, which leads to the next cost-driven design choice. If you want clear guidance without the noise, make sure you subscribe before the next update lands. The pricing shifts coming soon will blindside many people, and staying connected here is the simplest way to avoid costly decisions and missed opportunities. The two-bed system as a cost alternative to larger RV classes. Larger RVs often justify their higher price by offering dedicated sleeping areas. For micro camper builders, providing real sleeping capacity without increasing structural size is a financial puzzle The two-bed system found in these compact units offers a solution. It delivers space for multiple sleepers, while avoiding the need for a larger chassis or expanded cabin. Cost comparisons between this model and entry-level, full-size RVs reveal a substantial price difference, much of which comes from the added materials, square footage, and mechanical systems required in bigger rigs. By stacking or converting existing space into sleeping areas, the micro camper maintains its compact footprint while delivering functionality that would otherwise require a larger purchase. This approach avoids expensive engineering changes and keeps the retail price aligned with the lightweight RV category. For the owner, it prevents overbuying a larger, costlier class of rig when the actual need is simpler, a place to sleep comfortably without paying for excess size. This design philosophy merges affordability with practicality, and while sleeping efficiency saves upfront cost, winter operation introduces another area where the interior design directly affects long-term expenses. Efficient heating and insulation reduce winter operating expense. Cold weather travel can quickly become expensive when heating systems consume too much fuel or electricity. That is why builders of compact RVs focus heavily on insulation and efficient heater integration. Diesel heater consumption data shows that small, efficient units use minimal fuel when paired with proper insulation. Every layer of insulation reduces thermal loss, meaning the heater cycles less frequently and draws fewer resources. This impacts operating expense directly, especially during long trips where heating runs for extended hours. Additionally, strong insulation reduces strain on battery systems. When interior temperatures remain stable for longer periods, auxiliary batteries support lights, fans, and small appliances without depleting quickly. This lowers the need for generator use or campground hookups, both of which introduce additional costs. The decision to insulate thoroughly and select efficient heaters is based on the long-term financial benefits rather than comfort alone. By designing for minimal energy draw, manufacturers ensure that winter travel remains economically manageable. Lower fuel consumption and better temperature retention translate into measurable savings season after season. With the interior cost logic established, let's take a look at how these choices shape real-world financial decisions beyond the build itself. Import surge means more price drops are coming. The latest import data shows a steady rise in the number of Japanese microcampers entering the United States over the past several months. Monthly volume tracking from major ports indicates that shipments have increased consistently since late 2023. When import numbers rise this sharply, retail prices almost always follow the same pattern. They soften. Importers buy these units in bulk, and when too many arrive at once, they compete with each other to move the inventory quickly. This is already visible in auction listings, where several 12-foot models have appeared at noticeably lower starting bids than earlier in the year. Container schedules from exporters in Osaka and Yokohama reveal more shipments already booked for the coming weeks. That means additional supply is guaranteed to hit the market soon. When supply grows faster than demand, prices drop, even for desirable units. The timing matters because anyone purchasing right now risks paying more than someone who waits for the next arrival wave. It is not speculation. It is how wholesale dynamics work when inventory stacks up. And while falling prices are good news, buyers still face another challenge: unexpected fees that can quietly raise the real cost. The hidden costs importers do not advertise. Buying an imported microcamper is not simply a matter of paying the sticker price. Shipping fees, port handling charges, customs processing, and inland transport all add to the final amount. Data from import brokers shows wide variation in port costs depending on where the unit lands, with some ports charging nearly double what others do for the same service. This inconsistency often surprises buyers who expect the listed price to be closer to the total cost. Compliance upgrades add another layer. Items such as lighting adjustments, mirror replacements, and safety inspections can introduce several $100s of additional expense. The problem is that these fees are rarely disclosed up front. Many importers advertise the base unit price and mention only a small portion of the true landed cost. Buyers who do not calculate these extras may assume they are getting a better deal than they actually are. Understanding these hidden charges is essential because the savings from lower import prices can evaporate quickly once these fees stack up. Knowing where the unexpected costs appear helps avoid overpaying and keeps the overall financial picture accurate. Once the real costs are understood, The next question becomes whether this type of camper truly fits certain travel and usage needs, when this camper makes sense and when it does not. Fuel economy numbers for these 12-foot micro campers consistently outperform mid-size vans and full-size RVs by a wide margin. A small engine combined with lightweight construction results in lower fuel consumption during long trips. For travelers who prioritize efficiency and short to medium journeys, the operational savings can be meaningful. However, the financial fit depends on travel habits. For example, those who routinely carry heavy gear, tow equipment, or require large interior space may find themselves pushing the micro camper beyond its design limits. When that happens, any savings achieved at the pump could be offset by maintenance or performance issues. The decision comes down to matching needs with capability. For people who value maneuverability, low operating cost, and ease of parking, the economics work well. But for those requiring extended stays, significant cargo capacity, or long-haul comfort, the cost advantages may diminish. Misalignment between expectations and actual usage can lead to unnecessary expenses down the road. Evaluating how and where the camper will be used is critical to protecting long-term value. And after considering fit and costs, timing becomes the final factor, because the next month is already shaping up to bring noticeable shifts in pricing. What the next 30 days will look like. Export forecasts from Japanese suppliers show continued pressure to clear inventory through early next quarter. Auction batches scheduled over the upcoming 30 days include a higher number of compact RV units than seen earlier this year. This influx adds downward pressure on wholesale prices, which often trickles into the retail side within weeks. Market watchers already see signs of hesitant bidding at overseas auctions, a clear indication that buyers expect more supply and lower prices soon. When exporters rush to move inventory before the fiscal cycle turns, discounts deepen. The coming month is positioned as a transitional window where additional price drops are likely. For anyone considering a purchase, the key question is timing. Buying too early risks missing a better opportunity, while waiting a short period may lead to tangible savings. These conditions rarely last long, which makes awareness essential. Watching auction volumes and importer listings over the next several weeks can provide a clearer picture of when the bottom arrives. If this breakdown helped you see this camper and the market behind it a little differently, make sure to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And I want to hear from you. Would you actually choose a tiny camper like this, or is it still too small? Drop your thoughts in the comments.